Does anybody want to say anything about that? About their own family and the divorce?
Well, I mean, the most biggest part is your parents aren't together anymore. That's the biggest part, and that's the most basic.
The first night I heard about it, it almost scared me. For 2.5 years, I cried before I went to sleep. My dad put me to sleep, and then I started crying.
It's kind of like a nightmare.
It's kind of like a nightmare, you're right.
Every year, the lives of approximately 1 million children are turned upside down when their parents decide to divorce. In San Francisco, a divorce education program called Kids Turn tries to help parents and their children deal with the upheaval in their lives.
Sometimes they don't have the words, but you see them draw something, and it's all right there.
This one's, right?
Begging.
He's begging.
And what's this?
He's crying.
Oh, okay. And begging for...
To not divorce.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay, there's something really odd going on, and I want to figure it out. At first, I thought if it's a divorce, you're just giving away things. Then I thought, oh no, but what if a divorce is just killing each other?
Once the parent makes that choice, it's going to be permanent for a lifetime.
They take it in on a very visceral level. They think that the parents are either going to hurt each other or they're going to hurt them. They think that their parents don't love them when they get angry. It's a frightening experience.
I didn't like that my parents were apart, and I didn't like the fighting. I thought one of the problems they were fighting about was about me, and I felt like it was all my fault that that happened.
They think it's either because they did something or because they didn't do something. Maybe I didn't listen. Maybe I didn't make my bed. Maybe I caused a fight between my parents.
Confused, afraid, sometimes blaming themselves, children of divorce are buffeted by the conflict that surrounds them.
It's so obvious just in my life that the conflict is something kids cannot deal with, and that they'll start having stomach aches and they'll not sleep at night and they'll be disruptive in school and all the different ways you see children not feeling right about things.
I mean, children really hate it. When you talk to children about what their parents are doing, that's one of the things that they're frequently going to mention, is that they hate their parents' conflict, that they wish they wouldn't do it, that they sometimes sadly will say, I just wish they'd grow up, or as one kid said, I just wish they'd get on with their lives, and stop this. So it's a very painful.
How do you think the parents might feel, too?
They don't have happy faces on.
When people are getting a divorce, expectations go down the drain of what they thought life was going to be like, living happily ever after. And when that doesn't work, a lover becomes an enemy. An intimate partner becomes the person who most devastated me. And so that disappointment and that trauma creates such hurt between the two parties that parents really aren't able to deal with parenting very well.
I think particularly during this time that parents are sort of overwhelmed with all the changes that are going on in a divorce or separation. And it's difficult to concentrate on parenting at this time. So take a few minutes and look at the responses.
To remind parents of their children's needs, Kids Turn leader Chandler Hoffman has them read from a letter their children have collectively written them.
We are sad we don't get to see both parents every day. We are upset when you argued and fought. We feel mad when you say bad things about our other parent. We hated the yelling.
We were shocked and surprised at first. It is not our fault. Sometimes we feel paralyzed and scared. We feel weird.
When they see how devastating their conflict has become for the children, bickering every time they're together, keeping the children away, whatever it is, I think it has to touch even the most hostile heart.
We want our parents to do more fun stuff and projects with us. We want more love. We want the yelling or the fighting and yelling to stop.
We would like both parents to make an effort to have a nice household and a real house. We want our families to be happy.
Some parents sometimes begin to cry. Some parents are stunned by what they hear this group of children, which includes their children, have said. and that it often promotes some pretty profound sort of awareness and change in these parents.
The other day, it almost made me cry when my little boy, who's 7, just turned 8, said, Mom, thanks a lot for not saying anything bad about Dad anymore. I was like, oh my God. You're welcome, Jade. It's like he's more mature than his mom.
Well, he really noticed that.
He totally noticed it.
If parents can do one thing to help their children, it is to reduce conflict in any way they can. They've only done it the way you've said it. We give them a lot of tools to reduce that conflict.
One thing that Kids Turn did teach was if there are certain things that you would like to say that aren't really in the best interest of the kids, more so that you just want to say it out of anger or disappointment, to write them down and not say them. And it works because there's always those reoccurring topics that just start a fight.
You can just see how much happier my kids are now that that's stopped. And they understand that both their parents are actually trying very hard to be respectful of each other and to communicate well and to bite the tongue and not say things that are hurtful about the person they love very deeply.
When they were together, they were always fighting, and now my dad and my mom try not to talk about each other. And so if they do, they say nice things and nothing mean.
Parents have a tremendous influence on how well their children turn out. If they have some divorce education, they begin to get it that, gee, what I do and the way in which I interact with my former partner are important predictors of how well my kids are going to do.